In our Family Focus, we're taking a closer look at violence in movies, and specifically whether the rating system for PG-13 movies should be changed. A lot of parents say they don't want their 13-year-old seeing the kind of violence that are in films with that rating. Dr. Mallika Marshall is here with us now, and I know you've got the results of an interesting study that seems to back up some of what these parents are saying.
It does. Let's refresh people's memory. So PG-13 rating means that some material might be inappropriate for kids 13 and under. An R rating means that a child under 17 needs to be accompanied by an adult. However, the amount of violence in PG-13 movies has risen considerably since the rating was introduced back in 1984. So that in some cases, in comparable movies that are PG-13 and R, there's more violence actually in the PG-13 movies than there is in the R-rated movies. Now, what happens in the PG-13 movies, they sort of sanitize it. So people are getting shot up, but you don't see as much blood and you don't see as much suffering as you do in the R-rated movies. And that's a way for movie producers to sort of skirt it and still appeal to a wide audience, right? So these were researchers at the University of Pennsylvania that took 610 parents, and they showed them 90-second clips of PG-13 movies and R-rated movies, things like White House Down, Skyfall, Jack Reacher, Training Day. And in general, the parents were more at ease with what they called justified violence. So that means violence in self-defense or violence defending someone else.
Like the bad guys had it coming.
Exactly, exactly. But they did say that they thought that a lot of those scenes were inappropriate for kids under 15. And when the violence was unjustified, sort of more random, they thought it was inappropriate for kids under 16. So I guess, you know, the question is, do we need to look at our rating system again? Has it sort of gotten ahead of how quickly violence has sort of blossomed in movies over recent years?
Well, I mean, doesn't it seem, too, that the culture changes? So these ratings that went into effect in the 80s, there might need to be some fluidity. There might need to be some adjustment because things have changed so much.
And as you can imagine, the movie industry, I'm sure, is going to be slow to want to change these things. But I think if there is data to support the fact that parents are uncomfortable with certain scenes, because you do sort of trust the ratings, right?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old, and I think PG-13, okay, I have a pretty sophisticated 10-year-old. It's probably okay for him. But in some cases, it probably isn't. And sometimes I'm shocked, like, ooh, that probably wasn't a good thing to do. So what I usually do is ask friends who've seen it before, or I go online and see what parents are saying about a particular movie. Is it nudity? Is it sex? Is it graphic violence? Like, what is it that's leading to this rating to try to figure out if it's appropriate for my kids?
So until things change, rely on your friends, word of mouth, and do a little reading to prepare yourself.
That's the best advice I have for you.
Awesome. Always good advice, Doctor. And for much more, you can go to our website, cbsboston.com.